Dundalk TV is with Jones's Creek resident Russ Donnelly, and he is going to talk about what is happening with Fort Howard. It closed this week, and for myself personally, the hospital fit perfectly with the community, and the community was a perfect fit for our veterans that were at the VA hospital there in the past. Okay, Russ, so what kind of information can you give us on the closure?
Okay, well, it was unexpected, relatively unannounced. The letters that the veterans in communication with our group, Save Fort Howard, only got letters that told them of a temporary closing due to water damage, mold, et cetera, et cetera. However, upon further consideration, one particular veteran was at Green Street getting seen, and normally he went to Fort Howard, but he was at Green Street for a special thing, and they were overbooked for that particular day. So the doctors at Green Street, this was 2 weeks hence, 2 weeks prior, doctor at Green Street sent him down to Fort Howard to complete his visit. You know, said that it could be done there.
So he handled some overflow.
Right. So what happened was he went to Fort Howard. There were no doctors there. It was already in the process of closing. They were unloading the building, pulling out the tables, the operating table, you know, the MD tables.
Exam table.
Right, exam tables and all the equipment, per se, to run the operation. Chairs, you name it, was going out the door in the trucks. So and the doctors at Green Street weren't aware of this. This was 2 weeks back. And it was only supposed to be temporary, but now, that's what the letters were saying, now it's listed as permanently closed by VA. And that was one David Edwards, who's the PR representative in Baltimore for the VA. That was his designation. And now it's out official, it's in the newspaper, it's in the press. So it's a very disturbing turn of events because it leaves the question of what is going to pursue or proceed after this, because when you close the VA outpatient center, medical center, then that takes the veterans' mission off the property. Then it's just a piece of property with no designation as to forthcoming what it would be. Technically, then it would just be a vacant piece of VA real estate, not an active VA mission home for veterans.
Okay, so
that's what we're worried about.
But there wasn't any, was there water damage prior to that 2 weeks? Was there any water damage prior to the 2 weeks?
That's what everybody was told. That's what the letter says. Nobody's seen anything. The public was not even made aware of this in the least until now, till yesterday.
Okay, so this has been something that Al Classing and the Save Fort Howard organization has been very concerned about for quite some time. Al passed away within the last 6 months in December, so less than 6 months. So you are continuing the fight to along with the organization to preserve that property for veterans, exclusively for veterans.
1 week before Al passed, Alfred Classing was deceased. I was called to his house by his order. I was always the coordinator for Save Fort Howard and took care of the North Point Peninsula branch of the Save Fort Howard unit, which is, by the way, over 8,000 citizens now, and 2/3 of that, I would say almost 70% of that is soldiers. They're veterans. So the mission, what I was asked and directed by Mr. Al was, keep it going. Don't let this die. And I promised that on his, might as well say his dying wish, I am the coordinator, one of them. The other one is Rebecca Weir Nelson, who is from Middle River, Essex area, very strong ties in veteran relations over 30, 40 years. So that the Save Fort Howard will continue. There will be no further change to hierarchy. It is still Mr. Classing who's the leader of this outfit, here or gone. So that's how it remains, as an honorarium.
Well, I had the pleasure of meeting Al, and he was very concerned about the traumatic brain injuries as I am, and I actually feel that piece of land would be there's no better piece of land that I'm aware of that would be able to handle traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress, and also someone that would lose a limb or any kind of injury to rehab at. That is the perfect location. So I am very disappointed and just want to do everything I possibly can to support you in your efforts, as I did Al.
Don't be disappointed. Now the line is drawn in the sand. Now comes the real fight, because our mission is still, as it always has been, to return that to a full-service VAMC, Veterans Administration Medical Complex, with appropriate housing for veterans of all ages, in a national park setting with critical area shoreline restored and gardens and fountains and you name it. The historical note for the wars of 1812, the Revolution, U.S. Army, all the other occupants that have given the pedigree to that property needs to be maintained infinitum as a record of our country's history, not changed into a complex or a senior retirement community center, as it's quoted now, titled now in the Federal Register. The battles never stopped. It lulled because there was no communication from the present developer, no phone number, no street address, no form of public communication.
Well, what we're going to do is we're going to keep following what's happening at Fort Howard. We'll be staying in touch with you. Any information you want to share, just please get in touch with us. We'll be glad to help you.
It's a pleasure and an honor.
As always.